Zenos grew up in the slums with nothing but grit and bad luck. After meeting a healer, he dove headfirst into magic and finally caught a break only to get dumped by his adventurer team like yesterday's trash. Broke and fed up, he opens an underground clinic using his hard-earned skills, and before long, word gets out. There's a miracle healer working in the shadows. Now, even the royal palace is paying attention. Can Zenos rise from rock bottom and finally start living on his terms? In a world where healers are basically rock stars living the high life, there's one guy doing his own thing on the sidelines. Zenos? No license. Just a small healing office on the edge of the kingdom and a habit of helping people for next to nothing. One day, after patching up a guy who can barely afford bus fare, Zenos accepts the man's pocket change like it's no big deal. He's not in it for the money, he just wants to help. As soon as the guy leaves, Zenos' assistant Lily pops in and reminds him he's got a house call. Zenos sighs but grabs his coat. Ready to head out? Lily promises dinner when he gets back, which sounds like a sweet deal. A few hours later, Zenos is walking home when he spots something weird, a wolf girl stumbling down the street, clearly in pain. Then this jerk noble shows up, screaming at her like she's late for work. Turns out she's his slave. And when she got sick, the hospital turned her away for not having money. The noble decides that makes her pain fake and yeets her into a cemetery, where she smashes her head on a tombstone. As if that's not awful enough, some spooky black energy slips into her, but the noble doesn't notice. He keeps yelling until she finally snaps blame the pain or the possession and slashes his gut open. Now he's in shock, bleeding everywhere, and decides it's time to run. But he's not exactly fast, so he limps away and just so happens to bump into Zenos again. "Help me! My slave's gone crazy," he cries. Zenos, who saw him treat her like trash earlier, is not impressed. Zenos sees the dark energy swirling around the girl and puts two and two together. The noble lies, saying they were farming loot, but Zenos just wants to keep things from getting worse. The girl charges. Zenos saves the noble just in time, then proceeds to dodge flying rocks like he's in an action movie. The noble begs him to kill the girl, but Zenos is like, yeah, no thanks. I don't do murder. He's a healer. After all, saving lives is kind of his whole thing. Instead of fighting back, Zenos deflects her attack with a magic shield, sending her flying into a building. A chunk of it collapses right next to the noble. Zenos definitely could have saved him. But let's be real, he chose not to. With things calm, Zenos approaches the girl, who's injured and still wild. She bites his arm, but he doesn't even flinch. He senses she's possessed, so he gently heals her, exorcises the spirit, and patches up her broken leg. The noble, half buried in rubble, begs for help again. Zenos says he's technically off the clock, but hey, if he wants treatment, it's gonna cost extra. The noble hands over a fat stack of gold, but Zenos isn't satisfied. After all that, he's feeling real entrepreneurial. He demands the noble's slave contract too. The noble shrugs and agrees clearly didn't care about her anyway. When the wolf girl wakes up, Zenos calmly tells her he bought her. Then, in classic Zenos fashion, he asks her to strip. Not for anything sketchy, he just wants to check her condition. Turns out she had a gallstone messing her up. Zenos uses his magic to pluck it out in a literal second, like he's removing a pixel in Photoshop. Til's floor. No healer can do what he just did. She offers to repay him, but all Zenos wants is her help finding a rare medicinal leaf. That's it. Once she leads him to it, he tears up her slave contract and sets her free. Just like that. She's stunned, but grateful, and maybe a little smitten. Meanwhile, back at home, Lily's cooking smells so good it drags a ghost named Camilla downstairs. Then, one girl shows up. Then another. All hoping for a piece of Zenos. The food vanishes fast, and Lily catches them mid-snack. Zenos finally gets home. Lily apologizes for the dinner disaster, but says not to worry, she's got a new feast in the works. Zenos used to roll with the world-class adventurer crew, Golden Phoenix, but one day, the jerk of a party leader, Aston, chucked a gold coin at him like he was flipping a tip to a beggar. Then, in full Drama King mode, Aston kicked him out, called him a useless freeloader, and claimed the party would be better off without him. Zenos, however, knew the truth. He was the glue holding that chaotic mess of a team together, healing their sorry butts every time Aston pulled a heroic stunt. Turns out, Aston only recruited Zenos as a disposable meat shield. Zenos tried to argue, but Aston wasn't hearing it. So, with nothing but that gold coin, aka insult money, Zenos stormed off. Meanwhile, down a shady alley, a couple of slave traders were trying to bag an elf girl named Lily. She wasn't going down easy, kicked one guy square in the family jewels, and made a break for it. Unfortunately, the dude had a bow and shot her in the ankle. She hit the ground hard. As they pinned her down again, Lily went full feral and bit the guy's hand like a rabid chihuahua. In retaliation, He stabbed her. Smooth move, scumbag. That's when Zenos, fresh off being insulted and broke, stumbled into the alley. He saw Lely bleeding out and asked the men what the hell happened. They smugly told him to buzz off. Slavery's legal here, and she's their property. Technically, they were right, but Zenos had a brainwave and offered to buy Lely with the very coin Aston threw at him. The traders, seeing that she was probably going to die anyway, agreed. Once they left, Zenos healed Lely like it was nothing. She thanked him, guilt-tripping herself over the coin. But Zenos didn't care. He hated that coin anyway. She had no home, no food, and was freshly unslaved. So he took her to a diner and got her clothes and something to eat. Lely happily munched away while Zenos pretended he wasn't starving, having blown the last of his cash on her. Suddenly, a guy stumbled into the diner with a hole in his arm. Zenos took one glance and healed him like it was no biggie. The guy, Zand, was shocked and threw some coins at him in thanks. That gave Zenos an idea. If he could get paid for healing people, maybe he could run his own clinic. Problem was, he was broke, homeless, and very much unlicensed. So naturally, he decided to open an underground clinic. Lely insisted on helping, claiming she was his loyal servant now, and after some awkward back and forth, Zenos gave in. They found a spooky abandoned house haunted, obviously, and ran into a wraith named Carmela. She attacked. Zenos destroyed her ghostly minions with heal spells. Yeah, healing magic murders, the undead, and somehow negotiated peace. She let them stay on the first floor. Soon after, patients rolled in, rival gangs started drama, and one werewolf even tried to kill Zenos. But between magic shields and an angry ghost roommate, they didn't stand a chance. The underground clinic was officially open for business. One day, an orc strolls into Zenos' clinic and casually drops that his boss wants to meet him. Zenos isn't shocked. He figured this would happen eventually. After all, he's already had run-ins with two of the slum bosses. This time it's Lou, the big shot who runs the orcs and ogres. She made a killing excavating magic stones with her brute strength. So yeah, she's kind of a big deal. Zenos figures if he handles this, no one else will mess with his clinic anymore, so might as well get it over with. Before leaving, he asks the orc a fair question. Is your boss someone I can reason with? The orc tells him Lou's the most wise and dignified person he'll ever meet. That's promising. But Zenos is curious, if she's so wise and dignified, why didn't she just come to him herself? Turns out she can't move. Zenos rushes over and is led to a cave where Lou's chilling, literally not moving an inch. She's happy to finally meet him. And Zenos, always the curious type, asks how she even found out about his secret clinic. Lou says the lizardmen and werewolves couldn't keep their mouths shut. They've been blabbing about some miracle healer, despite strict orders to keep quiet. So much for secrecy. Anyway, Lou tells him she heard he'll heal anyone if they pay a fair price. She wants to test him. Zenos scans her body since she doesn't look injured on the outside and finds a lump in her abdomen radiating mana. Looks like a mana stone. And yep, it's enchanted with explosion magic. Move an inch and kaboom. Zenos wonders if someone tried to assassinate her. But no, Lou just accidentally ate it. Mistook it for a rice ball. Zenos isn't sure how anyone could make that mistake. But hey, no judgment. At first, he tells her not to worry, it'll pass naturally. Gross, but doable. But then she says she chewed it a bit, and now it's unstable. It could explode at any second. She's made peace with dying, but wanted to see Zenos so she could donate her fortune to him. He heals kids for free, after all, so he must be a good guy. She tosses him the vault key, but Zenos isn't about to let her die over a rice ball. Without a word, he whips out his scalpel, cuts her open, grabs the mana stone, and heals her up good as new before anyone can stop him. Now holding a super volatile explosive, he squeezes it in his hand until it detonates. He's fine thanks to his defensive magic, though it did hurt like hell. He hands the key back and says her life's worth more than her gold. Lou's blown away and says if he ever needs help, she's got his back. She even offers her crew to guard the clinic, but Zenos politely declines. Orc bodyguards tend to scare off the customers. A few days later, Lily, the clinic receptionist, is pouting because Lou, Zolfia, and Linga keep stopping by without being injured. Zenos starts to suspect they're just hanging around for fun. Carmela straight up says they're in love with him. Zenos thinks that's nuts, he's just a regular underground healer. But then all three women declare war on each other over him. Literally. By noon, they've gathered in a stadium with their armies, ready to throw down. Zenos shows up and, instead of stopping them, gives the go-ahead as long as they don't die. Turns out he's been secretly healing everyone mid-fight. 6 hours in, no casualties, just bruised pride. Realizing the futility of it all, the women call it off. They'll keep fighting for Zenos, sure, but non-violently now. When Lily asks why he went through all that trouble, Zenos recalls something his teacher once said, a top-tier healer makes the world a better place. Zenos isn't sure he's there yet, but he's trying, even if it means less business. Back in the capital, the royal knights hear rumors about the demi-human war ending and freak out. Peace in the slums? That's a threat to the status quo. They send the Vice Commander Krishna to arrest whoever's responsible. She ends up in the slums, gets stonewalled by a loyal lizardman, and runs away straight into Zenos' clinic. Zenos offers to help her find her way back, but then Lely walks in with tea. And Krishna, seeing her elf ears, immediately blasts Zenos in the head. Typical day in the life of an underground healer. Krishna straight up shot Zenos in the head. No warning, no questions, just bam, bullet to the brain. Lily is obviously freaking out because what the hell? But Krishna, cool as ever, says she had a reason. See, she's on a mission investigating kidnappings in the area and saw Lely, a sweet elf girl with Zenos, a human. Naturally, she jumped to the worst conclusion and assumed Lely was the kidnapped damsel and Zenos the shady captor. Lily quickly clears things up, explaining Zenos is basically her adopted dad, and she's totally here of her own free will. Krishna starts putting the pieces together and realizes, yeah, maybe shooting him was a bit much. Thankfully, the bullets were non-lethal. She figures he probably just got knocked out. But to her surprise, Zenos is completely fine. Not even a bruise. Turns out, he blocked it with some basic defensive magic or so he says. But Krishna's been around. She's the vice commander of the Royal Knights, and she knows her spells. What he pulled off, that's not basic anything. Now the vibes get tense because Zenos and Lily realize having a Royal Knight poking around could spell disaster. Well, Krishna, of course, has another request she wants Zenos to help with her secret mission. He's hesitant, but let's be real, he's a little scared she'll shoot him again, so he agrees. She tells him she's hunting down the mysterious mediator who ended the war between the factions. Zenos nearly chokes on his tea because, yep, that's him. But he plays it cool, pretending he doesn't know the guy. Things get even weirder when Krishna spots the bed in the corner of Zenos' clinic and asks if she can crash there for her mission. Zenos, boxed in, says yes. Lily? Not thrilled. The moment Krishna's sipping her tea, which she keeps blowing on like it's lava, Lily hops into Zenos' lap and demands head pats. Classic jealousy move. Carmela, Zenos' invisible ghost roommate, is living for the drama. Later that night, Zenos tells Krishna about how he rescued Lily from traffickers. Krishna, intrigued, asks a weird question: could someone heal an entire arm back if they trained enough? Zenos is like, well, not usually. Wait, why are you asking? Turns out, Krishna recently blew someone's arm off in a fight, and they showed up the next day like nothing happened. Suspicious. Krishna's convinced there's some superpowered healer in the slums. The next morning, she leaves to snoop around more, but Zenos realizes she might be walking into a trap. She's heading straight to Kalindor, the supposedly noble philanthropist who's actually the brains behind the trafficking ring. Krishna ends up uncovering the secret dungeon under his backyard, but before she can act, Kalindor blasts her with her own gun. Things look bad, but Zenos and Zafia burst in just in time. Zenos tanks a lethal blast to the face like a champ, shoots Kalindor with a non-lethal setting because he's got morals, and then fully heals Krishna's missing arm and stomach. Krishna's floored. She finally believes he is the mediator. And though Zenos brushes it off, saying he's just a healer, she sees him as a real hero. Before he leaves, she stops him to ask why he saved her even though they were enemies. His answer? You still owe me for the overnight stay and healing. I expect full payment. Classic Zenos. That's the end of the recap. Let us know if you want part 2 by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to avoid being virgin forever. See you guys in the next video.